How's it going, everyone? I got an interesting build for you. I know everybody right now was currently making a INES RAYA build, but I just wanted to show you guys what I've been using for all the modules and all the weapons and reactors for her. So I'll be showing you a build for mobbing and bossing. So overall, she's basically like Freyna when it comes to mobbing, but 10 times better because she can chain lightning with her abilities. And in the gameplay that you are seeing already, I did a run with INES RAYA on the new Defiler boss, and I think she is the best Descendant when it comes to dealing with that boss or any other boss that is weakened to electricity, or should I say electric. But yeah, the gameplay isn't really a gamer move like I killed him in under 5 seconds. This is just my normal run, not even overly prepared, just casually going in, spamming my one, and he just falls over. Yes, I did die, but that is how you do it whenever you play by yourself. Don't worry, don't get mad if you die. That's how it usually goes. So, but without further ado, let's head to the build. So at first, 2 out of the 4 abilities are singular and the other 2 are tech, but we are using this Transcendant module that will make all of your abilities tech. So it would override your first ability and your third ability into tech. So you're going to need to use this Transcendant module called Time of the Hunting Hounds. So this module makes her extremely powerful when it comes to bossing and mobbing. So now all of her abilities are tech, so you will deal damage and inflict conductor on all enemies in the path. We'll explain what conductor does later, but for now, let me explain more about the mod. It would reduce the number of bounces of chain lightning and modifies it to be stackable, but we are using range modules that will make us bounce even more with our ability, mainly her first ability. So let me show you guys what ability she got with this Transcendent module. It overrided the first ability and is now called Floating Lightning. It would fire these floating lightning projectiles in front of you or around you. Actually, let's just say that an enemy or like a boatload of enemies are around you. You don't even have to look at them. You can just stand still and hold, or should I say click, your first ability, and those orbs of lightning will chain to them. And as you're pressing Floating Lightning, the orb will go to that enemy and it will chain off to nearby enemies, and it would go back to you once it's done chaining to those enemies. And as those enemies are being chained, they will get this debuff called Conductor. And whenever Conductor is on that enemy, it will increase your skill power. And that's pretty much it. And the duration for Conductor is 30 seconds. And the other ability that got overrided is the third ability, and it's now called Snare Acrobatics. It's basically you becoming Sonic, gotta go fast. If you know, you know. So if you do want to increase your damage even further, you would have to hold on your third ability for a little bit of time, and as you're holding on to it, it would launch you in the air or in front of you, dealing massive damage to enemies around you, which would also inflict Conductor to that enemy as well. So all of your abilities will inflict Conductor. But in this build, we're mainly not going to be using our third ability that often. We're mainly going to be spamming our first ability. On the second ability, it's called the Lightning Conductor. It would create these current coils on nearby enemies and it will deal damage. And last but not least, on the fourth ability, we are going to be using this mostly, and it's called Snare Hunter. It will throw these plasma acceleration coils in front of you and will create these thunder snares at the point of impact for a certain period of time. So it's kind of like Jaber if you were to use his turrets on the floor. And if enemies were to go inside of these Snare Hunter traps, they would get Conductor, and you would also get this buff called Short Circuit that would make you move extremely fast. So it would give you a 50% movement increase while you have Short Circuit activated, and it lasts up to 10 seconds. And for the passive, it's called Plasma Oscillation. Your skill critical hit rate will increase as of the max MP increases. So the more MP you have, the higher of a skill critical rate you'll have. And also your skill critical hits against enemies that are affected by Conductor will have a chance to restore MP. So all of our abilities are going to inflict Conductor. So no matter what you are doing, you are going to be getting MP back. And also your firearm or skill critical hits on an enemy with Conductor will also have a chance to cause Dark Current. If you were to kill an enemy with Conductor or the duration for Conductor depletes, it will trigger Dark Current. Dark Current deals a portion of its damage to nearby targets based on your maxed MP and inflicts Conductor on enemies hit. So let me show you guys what Dark Current really does. What I'm going to do is activate any of my abilities. So let's just say my first and my 2. And you see that little debuff going down slowly but surely. And as you're seeing it go down, look at the enemies. They're all going to explode and cause a chain reaction between each and every one of them. And that's basically what Dark Current does. All right, let me show you guys the mobbing part for this build for the modules. So basically, the only module you need for range is called Maximize Range. It would increase your range by plus 94.4%, but your skill power modifier would be minus 20. If you guys do care about losing your skill power modifier, you can also change this one to skill expansion. You lose a little bit more percentage for the skill range, but you could also swap to skill expansion if you like. But for me, I'm going to stick with maximize range. Let's now head to the cooldowns. You're going to need to use 4 modules, and the 4 of them are Nimble Fingers, MP Conversion, Focus on Electric, and Focus on Tech. If you have all of these 4 modules, it will bump down your cooldown for your abilities, mainly our first ability, to 1.3. If it's at 1.3 cooldown, you're going to be spamming it non-stop. And again, we are using our first ability for mobbing and bossing to give us our pink bar as what you're seeing on the bottom of the screen. See how it is full? So in order for you to get that pink bar underneath you, you're going to need to either use your first ability or your second ability. Your third and fourth ability will need that pink bar in order for you to use it. So I'm going to activate my third ability, and this is what you're seeing there. It went down. Activating my fourth ability, it went down. Your 1 and 2 gives you your pink bar, and your 3 and 4 will consume the pink bar. The next 3 modules are going to increase your damage, and you're going to need to put skill concentration, skill insight, and last but not least, emergency measures. Emergency measures increases your critical hit rate and also your critical hit damage. Skill concentration increases your skill critical hit damage, and skill insight increases your skill critical hit rate. And for your sub module, you can choose any sub module you like, but for me, I went for mid-air maneuvering. The only module you need for survivability is either any of these 2 modules. Either increased HP, which will give you plus 218.5% max HP, or if you want to bump it up even further, you could also go for HP amplification, which will bump up your max HP to 227.2%, but you'll lose minus 36.5% max shield. But for me, I recommend going for HP amplification for more HP. And the main module you're going to want to put is called Potent Collector. Here's what it does. This is kind of like MP Collector, but for our pink bar. So whenever we defeat an enemy, it would instantly recover 12.2% of custom resources at a 17% chance. What they mean by a custom resource, it's the pink bar is what you're seeing on the bottom. So if I were to turn off the invisibility off these enemies and I want to activate my first ability, as what you're seeing here, I'm getting a boatload of a pink bar. So I chose to put this module just to spam our fourth ability more often. So I'm going to leave the modules here. If you guys like to copy it, go for it. But we're now going to head to the bossing aspect for the modules for INES RAYA. What's really cool about the bossing build is that all you would need to do is change only one module. And instead of you putting Potent Collector, you can change that to Dangerous Ambush. So if you are running Dangerous Ambush and you are noticing that you're dying a little bit more often, you can change the Dangerous Ambush to another HP module, but you're going to have to slot in another catalyst into this slot. But when I was running it just with one HP module, I seemed pretty tanky. But if you guys are struggling again, you can change Dangerous Ambush to another module like HP Amplification. And the main weapon you're going to want to use for this build is the Secret Garden, because if you didn't know, for its unique ability, whenever you use a tech skill, it will grant the unique ability called Pest Control. The trigger rate is a 50% chance if you have all of the unique abilities unlocked, and the duration is 10 seconds with 3 stacks, and with every stack it will increase your firearm attack, your skill power. So I haven't fully maxed out my Secret Garden, but here are the modules that I was using. Just copy them and just level them up. And here are the stats that I was using for the Secret Garden. I do not have the new thing that I don't have the new items for your weapons to make them even better. So here's what I was using for the stats. For the inversion reinforcements, here's what I was using for INES RAYA. Most of these are tying to mobbing. So here are the inversion reinforcement perks you're going to need to run if you are choosing this for a bossing. Of course, you're going to want to max out your attribute to give you this enhanced focusing rounds, and also put electric focusing rounds. And what you're going to do is that once you're at the boss, you're going to shoot them to get those 5 stacks of electric focus rounds, and then keep hitting your 1, and then as you're hitting your one, try to shoot at the same time. So one shoot, one shoot, one shoot, just to give you an uptime for this perk. And the next one, go for RK boost to decrease your skill cooldown and also increase your speed and range modifier if you were to hit 5 or more enemies. And just for survivability, when you're dealing with the Defiler, he is pretty strong, so go for void resistance, and whenever your HP is below 50%, it will increase your damage modifier. Let's head to the reactors. There's actually another reactor I really wanted to go for, but I'll explain that later. But for now, this reactor is the one that I'm currently using for mobbing and bossing. But this reactor is mainly towards mobbing, and you're going to want to go for tech skill power boost ratio and skill critical hit damage. But the one that I wanted to go for bossing on the reactor, I really wanted tech skill power boost ratio and also bonus attack to Colossus. But I grinded so many hours for that reactor and I haven't even gotten it, so I was like, I give up. I'm gonna stick with this one. This is the best one I've gotten so far. So, and with every build, you gotta go for the Slayer set, because all it would do is that it would increase your skill power up to plus 26.1% at the cost of losing, or your skill power will cost even more by 15% if you have all 4 sets. You would also get more ammo in your capacity for your weapons. And for the auxiliary power, you're going to want to go for max HP and MP out of combat. For your sensor, you're going to want to go for max MP and MP in combat. I don't have that as what you're seeing, but go for MP in combat. And for your memory, go for defense and MP recovery modifier, because MP recovery modifier increases the amount of MP you get. And for your sensor, it don't really matter what you're using. You can go for a toxic resist if you're battling the Defiler, or you can just use whatever you have. But the main ones are going to be your auxiliary, your sensor, and your memory, because that's what you're seeing here. I have 329 MP, even though I have MP conversion, which decreases my MP by 15%. So by having max MP, it really helps you out with your max MP. All right, let me show you guys the gameplay loop when it comes to mobbing and bossing. So for the mobbing part, all you would have to do is activate either your first ability or your second ability to get your kills to fill up your pink bar underneath you. Once your fourth ability is ready, activate it and let everything inside of it die. So no matter what ability you're using to get kills with, you would always get that pink bar back. All right, let's head to the bossing part for the gameplay loop. It's very, very simple. All you would have to do is spam your 1. Yep, that's pretty much it. Spam your 1. And let's just say that the Defiler goes down and you knock him. You could also activate your second ability too, but I just find that using your first ability is way more better when it comes to damage and conserving your MP. And let's just say you run out of MP, he will spawn in a ton of enemies around him. So of course, as you're hitting the boss, it will chain to those enemies and then they will drop MP. Go and collect it and try not to die and have fun killing the boss. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, feel free to hit that like and sub button. I'll greatly appreciate it, and I hope you would use this build and help yourself complete endgame content within the first Descendant. If you guys would like to see a build for Sharon that demolishes everything in mobbing and you'll deal millions of damage with your abilities, click on the right side of the screen.